This is a video for the Dislyte boys. If you're not them, get out.
Hello and welcome back to Dislyte News. The Dislyte News that is pretty late this time. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, new patch, and that means we're talking new espers once again. So since all the last patch espers are free, so I won't be talking about them. And we're just gonna go straight into the new espers. So starting with the new esper, Bitao. Bitao is actually a really good controller. You can think of him as kind of like a Hilda, but instead of sleep and poison, he puts petrification, which is like kind of better. So since his main thing is petrification, he's only viable in PvP and not so much in any of the PvE content, except towers, I guess. And for Beta, R0 is enough, but the resos do make him better. So next we have Ming Shuo, a new Shimmer Esper, and not just any new Shimmer Esper, a free one! Yep, we're getting Esper Fusion back, and this guy, we can R6 him in like a while. So in order to unlock Ming Shuo, you do need an R6 Everett, so if you haven't got that yet, you better start grinding. Because this guy, he's like the new fastest Esper. He has a 300% speed buff, and honestly, he does not bad damage. The only thing is his 300% speed buff also sacrifices all his HP and gives him like 2 turns to live. So you will need Yujing for him. So if you got Yujing, amazing. If you didn't, well, then Ming Shuo's kind of screwed. So for Ming Shuo, I would say mostly he's gonna be used in PvP, and maybe he can be used in PvE, but you would really have to fine tune the Yujing and Ming Shuo ratio so that Yujing actually takes enough turns to give him enough warm welcomes for him to actually survive. And for Falsetto Fantasy, that's gonna be a lot of turns. So not too sure if it's gonna be super viable yet, but possible to say the least. Now it's time for the weekly espers. So for the first week, we have Elif and Javid. For Elif, literally the best PvE fighter we have. Okay, that's it. Just pull for Elif and no one else matters. I'm joking, but that was kinda serious. So Elif obviously really good in Falsetto Fantasy, but can also kind of be used in PvP as well. But the catch is, for Elif, you will need R6. So if you've been saving up your Wishstones, this is actually a really good time to use them. So for Elif, definitely a must pull and just go for R6 as much as you can. Next up we have Javid. Javid on the other hand is honestly not very meta. He's not really used anywhere at all. Maybe you can use him like an old APEP team, but APEP teams usually don't even have Javid anymore, so yeah. But if you really want him, I would say his best reso is R6. So yeah. So overall, I would say Javid is just a skip. Yeah, I really don't need a pull for him. So for week 2, we have Ashley and Chu Yao. For Ashley, also not a very meta esper. But this also goes to show that maybe, just maybe, I know I was wrong about Ife the last time, but maybe there's gonna be an esper buff soon. And Ashley might be one of them. But for now, Ashley is also a skip. But if you want her, R2 is good. Next up, we have Chu Yao. Chu Yao is a really good debuffer and used in both PvP and PvE. I would say that he's basically a must-have at R0, and for the resos, R4 and R6 are good. So if you're close to it, maybe you can get them. For week 3, we have Lu Shang and Jin Yu Yao. For Lu Shang, kind of a must pull at this point because everyone uses his accentuated buff. You got Yujing, you got Meta Yunchuan, they're all using accentuated buff. Who knows if anyone else is gonna use it down the line. So for Lu Shang, mostly used in PvE but also usable in PvP. But for PvP, you might want him at R2 or R6 so that he actually performs better. Next we have Jin Yu Yao. Jin Yu Yao is a really good dispeller but also not very meta anymore. So honestly, Jin Yu Yao is another skip, but if you really want her, R2 is good. So yeah, there's a lot of skip espers this patch, a lot of R0 espers, and then there's Elif, which, like I said, just pull for Elif. Don't need to pull for anyone else. So yeah, that's basically all of the new espers coming out next patch. I'm honestly quite excited for Ming Shuo. Finally some endgame content, goddamn. But other than that, That's pretty much it. Share your stickers. Bye.